Human power. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Coffee Q&A. I'm Jay, your host. This is the Coffee Q&A, your daily dose of coffee Q&A here on the Onocoffee channel, and we do this most of every Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. And what's going on today? I'm pretty excited because today is our first giveaway of the all-press La Marzocco Home Walnut Lux Set D for a Mazzer mini grinder. And so we started this contest 2 weeks ago, and now we're going to do the giveaway today. So exciting times, exciting times. Mom, how are you? Kent, how's it going? Anton, hello. Devin, and Anton says, we're proud to announce we can hear you. You know, that's funny you say that because right before we started, I turned off the microphone switch because I wanted to clear my sniffles, and I'm thinking, hit the switch, hit the switch, hit the switch. So as I hit the live button to go live, and YouTube confirms we're live, I'm like, okay, remember, hit the switch. So yeah, you don't know how insightful you are there, my friend. All right, so here's our giveaway, and in the true fashion of television, we're not going to do that till later. So, Maku, how are you? Good to see you. Now today, so after yesterday, I was pretty disappointed in our results from yesterday with our milks. It was just so disappointing, right? We were using this raw cow's milk from Prego Family Creamery, and it just didn't do anything. We would steam it, and then it wouldn't even froth, and I didn't understand why. And I think it goes back to that whole thing I was telling about, where the one dairy told me that their problem was that the homogenation screens sometimes get out of alignment, or they wear out, or whatever, and they have these issues. Now, in many, many years of using commercial milks, I never had this issue, but only with these really quality milks have I ever run into this issue. And this was really surprising, right? And I think the last time that we used a raw milk from that dairy, that Amish guy in Pennsylvania, I think that steamed up fairly well. I didn't think about anything that till now, but I think it steamed up fairly well. So I think there could be something there. And then this one, their regular pasteurized milk, didn't have that steaming quality as well. So today I thought, let me grab this old school Mayola. And Mayola is a little bit of an interesting. The Mayola is actually fairly decent tasting milk. But when you buy it at the grocery store, you see the date, right? And here it says you can see on the left there, March 9th, 2025 is the use by date or sell by date. And so that's a long time for this to last. And so what this is, of course, it's pasteurized, but it's also, here it is, ultra pasteurized. Right, so ultra, and here's the thing that I'm not really clear on. There is ultra, I guess there's non-pasteurized, there's pasteurized, right? And so this has a sale by date of February 2nd. So it needs to be sold by this weekend, which means that it could last up to 1 week. Now, the problem with a lot of these nice quality milks that I've found over the years, like our supplier, Trickling Springs Dairy or Creamery in Chambersburg, PA, they would have the sell-by dates, and we would have them go bad, or we would have them start to turn either the day before or on the day of the sell-by date. So it was never with commercial milk, there's a sell-by date of 222, right? So commercial milks, you can be fairly certain that milk will last at least another 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, maybe even 7 days, right? With these, you never know. You got to consume them right away. So just be careful of that if you're buying these milks. But then when it comes to this ultra pasteurized, so I think there's ultra pasteurized, that it says ultra pasteurized, right? Ultra pasteurized, now we have it, and it's refrigerated, and it lasts. Peter, how are you? And maybe Peter can tell us more about this. Peter, we're talking about pasteurization, and I'm wondering, what I'm leading up to is that we have raw, we have pasteurized, we have ultra pasteurized, right? Which they keep it refrigerated and has a relatively long shelf life to this, but relatively short shelf life to what I've seen is labeled as UHT or ultra high temperature pasteurized milks. And those are the ones you find in the cartons that are on, your grocer's shelf, just on the shelf, right? Room temperature, room stable. And those seem to last for years, right? And so I'm presuming that because it says ultra rather than UHT, that there must be another level, right? Oh, Peter says, I know nothing. All right, very good, very good. Our resident scientist does not know anything. All right. Anton says, in Germany, the milk can last quite long past expiration if you always keep it in the fridge and don't let it sit too long. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. I mean, but what I find is this like these type of like local milks. It could be that in a coffee environment, like we do have the milks. Well, I mean, but we're pounding through a gallon of milk fairly quickly, depending on the day. But sometimes, we'll try to buy enough for a week, of course. So you may get 25 gallons of milk, and if we start pushing to those dates, then we find that these start to turn. So we had to change our buying so that we wouldn't have too much excess at the end of that week. But it's, as you can imagine, it's always a bit of a battle trying to figure out how much will our consumption really be this week versus how much we plan for. Peter says, I'm not a scientist. Oh, I thought you were, you're going on these like research trips. I thought you were the resident scientist. All right, very good. So I thought we'd try these out and see how they turn out. And I wonder, could it be that we had poor results with the steaming of this because, just because he's yesterday, maybe today it's better. And that doesn't really make there's no true sensibility to that, why that would happen. But I'm just hypothesizing. And we need some content for the channel. So we'd like you to talk a little bit about that. All right, so let's go and look here to our espresso machine set up here. So you got here over the espresso machine. And our setup's ready. And we're going to get our pitcher. Got a pitcher here, a little steam pitcher. And we're going to prepare our milk. Put that much in there. Now, before we pull a shot, I'm just going to pull the steam and see what happens. Oh, I need to remember to throw those away every day. But it is clean, so I did clean the machine out. It's not like I'm a total animal. Okay, so here we are. Set the wand, see if we can get better rotation. What I'm trying to do is get rotation this way. You can see that the bubbles are happening, but they're dissipating immediately. So all of that's, if those of you who are familiar with stretching, you could hear all that stretching. I'm stretching it as hard as I possibly can, with as much ferocity and with as much poor technique to get as much air into it. And look at that. There is no retention of there's no bubbles. Look at that. That is just, all right, we're just going to dump that because it's actually really hot. I made it, I exceeded the temperature that I should be for the milk. Okay, now we're going to try the other milk. Okay, so unfortunately, Paige, how are you? Good to see you. Unfortunately, our raw cow's milk is just still a bust. Still a bust. Oh, it does say shake well. Is there residue? There's no residue, though, to be shaken, to be shook. So I'm going to presume only if the cream line is there. So now we've got the regular from our local dairy, which this milk is, their milks are very nice quality. It's just that I don't know what's going on here. Okay, so I put some more in here, right? Now we're going to try it again. Charles, how are you? Morning, y'all. How's your mom? Oh, mom, they're good. Thank you. And now we're going to, I really do need to get a towel for this, don't I? I'm going to just use this one. Just want to make sure we wipe it off. Okay, good. Good. Now, here we go again. We've got our regular whole milk from Prego Family Creamery, all the way down. Okay, this one looks like it's doing fairly decently. All right, that does steam fairly well. Okay, so we've got some steam action going on here. Good amount. Okay, so whatever the difference is between the two from the same factory or same creamery, I don't know what the deal is there. Okay, so let's... So I'm rinsing this. One thing to bear in mind as when you're making a latte or milk, steaming milk, is that when you're rinsing stuff out, try to use cold water, right? Because here's the thing: when you're trying to steam milk, right, there is the idea of you want to have, okay, so basically when you're stretching the milk, you're adding air to create texture for your foam. You really want to conclude that before you reach 100 degrees Fahrenheit, right? And why is this? Because that gives you the best opportunity for texture. So you use the first. So let's presume we keep our milk well refrigerated. So ideally that's 38 degrees and below. So you take it out, you pour it into your pitcher, and let's just say it's for sake's argument, 40 degrees Fahrenheit. The water's in here, the milk's in here. You have a 60-degree window in order to stretch your milk, because what you want to do is after you've got that, you get the best results of stretching under 100 degrees, and then you spend the rest of the time heating that milk, rolling that foam underneath into the milk, combining it to keep that texture, to keep that hydration of the foam. And then you bring that to final temperature, right? And so some things to think about temperature is, and how do you know when you're at 100 degrees? You could use a thermometer, but thermometers, especially these dial thermometers, right? Like these old school dial thermometers, they're very slow. They're not very rapid. If you want to get a rapid read temperature thermometer, it tends to get expensive. What you can do, what I do is use my fingers, right? We know that our body temperature is 98.6 degrees. So by the time you start to feel this getting warm, you've probably got to that 100-degree threshold, and that's when you kind of go deeper. So you're starting out stretching. The milk is cold. The milk is getting warmer. The milk's getting warmer. Oh no! I'm sorry. The milk is cold. Oh, it's feeling warm. Let's go higher, forcing the nozzle down deeper while trying to keep that rotation happening. And it's really not just a rotation like this. It's more like a rotation like that, right? Because you want it to combine down. And then you bring it to your final temperature. And how I do it is that, and this, I didn't start out doing this, right? I had to learn this and I had to figure it out. But I learned that and I would have to say that maybe my tolerance for holding hot things is different because I've done it more. But I did start out many years ago using a probe thermometer and then correlating that. But basically what I find now is that if I can, as I'm heating it, what I want to do is for a cappuccino is I want to heat it to about no more than 160 degrees, right? 150 to 160 degrees is ideal. And in that case, I'm following that European kind of standard. And so you should be able to, when I can hold it this long, that's about 150 degrees. When I can only hold it like this, that's 175, and then we're done for lattes, right? So lattes go higher. Or at least at Spro, we go higher for lattes than we do for. Now, yesterday, I didn't go anywhere near that because by the time, I was really more concerned about why this thing is not stretching. So I wasn't paying that close, because that was distracting, so I wasn't paying that close attention. And then when I tasted the drink, it just didn't have the right temperature. It didn't have sweetness. Because when you do the stretching correctly, it actually converts the sugars in the milk, in the lactose, I think it is, and it makes it taste sweeter, which is a better experience. Paige says, you must be Southern, Charles. Virginia born and bred. Nice. Malcolm says, I'm still flabbergasted from learning non-pasteurized milk. Well, here's the thing. So let's not, I don't want to make it seem like non-pasteurized milk doesn't steam at all. There's another episode where we talked about raw milk from an Amish guy up in Pennsylvania. It's been quite a few months since we did that episode. And I don't recall what happened, but I don't recall my disappointment that it didn't stretch. I believe that it did. So if you want to, I'll have to go back and look at it. If you want to look at it, you can see that. So it's not necessarily a question of non-pasteurized milks not being able to stretch, but there's something else that's at play that I still have never gotten a great understanding. Like we even tried to like isolate it with our previous dairy, we tried to isolate it down to like, this batch or this coffee, this milk that we received on this day perform like this. And then sometimes it wouldn't even be the entire batch that we received for that week. It would just be a few of them. Sometimes it was the entire, it was just frustrating. It was maddening. Now, one thing I don't know, well, we might try that here. So this should steam fairly well. And this actually this steams all right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this. We're going to try this to see what happens. We're going to mix them together to see if this will influence this. Yeah, see, Peter, everybody thinks you're a scientist here. Oh, and Paige is also from Virginia. Marco's partner is from Virginia. Gosh, everyone's from Virginia. I'm so far south, says Paige, in Virginia that I'm basically in North Carolina. So like the Roanoke kind of area. There's this guy down in that area that's selling like a tool. And I was like, I looked him up and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Let me see if I can, where he's located. I was like, oh gosh, that's just like 5 hours away. I was like, forget it. Actually, this other guy that I wanted to get a tool from, maybe I'll get it from him this weekend. I'm going to call him up. But he's down in Front Royal. And I was like, man, Front Royal is so far away. But I do have something to attend in not Springfield, in Fairfax on Saturday morning. So I was thinking, and then one of my friends, she's out in Winchester. I haven't seen her in years. She's like, let's hang out. And I was like, all right, maybe I'll go to the meeting and then maybe go to Front Royal and then head over to Winchester and hang out a little bit and come home. But nice. Espresso Bikes, what's going on, man? I made my girlfriend a ristretto shot with your Agent 99 beans. Oh, she loved it and said, oh my God, this is so good. Can you make it like that? Oh, lovely. I hope I helped you in some way, But I'm glad she enjoyed it. I'm so glad. I'm so happy she enjoyed it. Peter says that I use cream, evaporated milk, or powdered milk. Okay. But is that more because that's your preference or because you're like in the frozen tundra somewhere, like remote tundra somewhere in the world on I thought, doing scientific experiments? Anton says, with an ice thermometer and a steam one, you can make perfect carbonara sauce. Ah, yes. Or you can just use your Thermomix, right? Marco says, I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. Nice. Anton says, I learned the trick from the Decent YT channel. Oh, really? Decent was making carbonara? That's awesome. Did they use their steam one for that? That would be kind of excellent. Peter says, yeah, my palms are more heat resistant than the average, so I use the back of my hand. Oh, okay, that makes sense. I also will use, I actually also use my finger. How do I do that? I actually do it like this for all the size pitchers. But here's the thing about this. I use this as a check as well, right? So I'll be steaming milk. Oh, it's been a long time. I'm not holding it as steady as I used to. How did I do this? Oh, gosh. Maybe it was like that, right? And so here's the thing. This is a great way to test for temperature as well. So this way I can utilize my fingers here to test. But I'm also using this finger to stabilize But here's the thing, don't do like this, right? Like you have to be able to support the entire pitcher without your pinky, because if you're holding it here and you're trying to steam for lattes and you can't release this, you will scald your finger. So do be careful about that. Marcus says, I really like the thermometer stickers you can get to the stick. Yeah, I remember those. I remember when I first started, we got a couple of those. Those are kind of fun. The little like LCD things that go here. I wonder if they make now some kind of like, you could stick it on here that has like an LED readout. That would be kind of interesting. So like a conductive kind of a thermometer reader. Paige says that I love Charlotte. There was there for a concert for New Year's Eve, visited hobbyists in Noda and Summit Coffee. Oh, how were those places? Good. I've not been down to I need to go visit. Anton says, I don't have a Thermomix. It's a, gotcha. And John Buckman is a funny guy. Oh. Peter says, I sometimes work in a lab collecting data, but gotcha. Understood. Still, respect. Okay, so let's have a look here. We're gonna, with that in mind, we're gonna try mixing these two to see if we can get some frothing out of it, right? So let's put a little bit of here. So I got just a bit more than half. Why? Just because I wasn't paying attention. Okay, so there we go. And if I do visit Charlotte, I will most certainly let you know if I ever get, whenever. It's been a long time. I haven't been to Charlotte since like 2006, I think it was. We were there. Great time. Just haven't. We had the SCAA had their trade show there that year, so that's why we were there. All right, let's have a look here at our steaming functions. See if this will give us better results for the steam. You can see that it's dissipating. Again, this is not helping. Look at it, it's just disappearing. Wow, that's total failure. Messy. Okay, that's not working. That is not working. All right, yeah, there's a little bit of residual. There's a little bit, but nothing noteworthy. So like I said, when you're doing your rinsing, it's nice to do it with cold water. That way you can have, you want to keep your stuff as cold as possible so you have the greatest latitude for steaming that you can, right? Because sometimes like this last one, it didn't jump off right away to getting the proper stretching. So the colder your apparatus and your milk is, the more time you have to stretch it out. So we're not having very good success with these milks. Surprising and a little bit disappointing. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take the Mayola. We're going to see what the Mayola will do for us. Which I'm pretty sure, I'm going to only put a little bit in here just so that because I only have a little bit of the Mayola. And since the Mayola is what we actually have to drink, I better not use it all, otherwise everyone gets upset. Okay, so a little bit of milk. Let's go here, give it a try. This, I'm presuming, should give us the expected results. Oops, maybe a little bit too much at the time. I think that looked pretty good. Let me just put this down. One thing that helps if you get into like we haven't done this very well here because I really haven't had a dedicated milk towel usually because we're only making a couple of drinks, but it really helps that if you get into the habit of the moment that you finish steaming, you're already grabbing your towel, right? You're already grabbing your towel and like even at the cafes, we'll steam the milk, even though we're going to pour it, it'll be a quick wipe down and you just kind of like wipe it. And then what I'm doing is I'm actually holding it like this And then I'm actually rolling under like this. I'm actually giving a lot of pressure under here through the towel, right? So that I want to make sure that we are scraping off the bottom of our nozzle because a lot of times you'll have buildup of milk residue here that because it's not in your direct line of sight, it's very easy to miss. So you always want. So what I've developed is a style of doing it so that when I'm doing it, I'm rolling under like that. I'm rolling under and trying to get that in one fell swoop. So what I'm doing is I'll typically come in like this because the towel's usually sitting somewhere folded like that. So I'll grab it and then I can just open it this way, come underneath, give that a blast, and then as I'm twisting, right, as I'm coming down, and then I get to the end and then I roll underneath it to catch it and then drop it back, push it back down, put that away, and then go back to my steaming. Now let's go look at the milk and see. So this is definitely giving us more results that we were kind of expecting. It's got good loft. You can see the difference here between the two. This is a very white milk, and this is a very yellow milk. So a little bit different, right? Paige says both of those shops are great. Hobbyists use beans from Hatchet Coffee out of Boone, and Summit apparently roast their own. Oh, nice. And Hobbyist was my favorite of the two. Ooh, some places to try. I wonder, my friend has a shop somewhere down there, but I can't remember the name of it. I will have to call him. I know I said that before. I don't know. Okay, so fairly good looking milk. This particular result, as you could probably hear, it was stretched really hard, so it's kind of fluffy, a little more fluffy than I would like. Now you can kind of work that and to recombine it. And what you can do, like if that happens, you can do this swirling thing, but also if you want to work it a little bit more, what you can do is also take another pitcher or another glass, right? And then pour it out and then pour it back. And that will help to, mix the two together and give you a little bit nicer of a foam quality. And actually, while we're going to do this, let's pull a shot with this so that we can have some coffee. Flushing the group head. And since we have that little bit of milk, I want a little bit more coffee in that. That's a little bit better. That actually doesn't look any different. Okay, tap that. Put this down. Now this one we're going to do since we have a little bit of milk, we're going to do this as a macchiato. We're going to see if we can salvage that milk. Okay, shot is looking fairly decent. I haven't made any drinks since yesterday, so again we have leftover. There's a little bit of spillage, so we want to stop it. Not too bad looking. Okay, let's go here. Can we zoom in a little bit more? There we go. So the shot looks fairly good. Milk. Devin, how are you, man? The amount of milk you add to a specific milk jug size makes a big difference in the vortex. Absolutely, absolutely. All right, let's see if we can pour this into something resembling anything worthwhile. Probably not. Yeah, it's too separated. All right. We'll have to do it again. So here is, this is a latte art that I will call Nebula in the vastness of the universe. Right? Just this little tiny speck in the middle of nothing. Like our own obliteration. All right, let's have a taste. Not so nice. Not so nice. A little bit astringent. Oh, no, 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 no. That is not where we want to go. All right, let's have it now that we've got our test shot pulled. Let me rinse this cup out. Give it a nice wipe down. And then we will return to, oh, yeah, that's not so pleasant. Now let's go and make coffee kind of for real, right? We're going to try to make another cappuccino like we were doing yesterday, that we were dismally failing at yesterday. So, Marcus is very true, Devin. This is why I also weigh the amount of milk I pour in the milk pitcher for consistency. Ah, yes. What I find, though, is that we can get very good consistency by, by measuring. We don't necessarily, I think at one point we did quantify the amount of milk we wanted to have, like by weight, like you're talking about, Anton. But I found that pretty much for a 12-ounce pitcher to make a cappuccino, right, we would fill the milk to right about there. That would, with the stretching, be plenty. Now, if we wanted to make a 12-ounce latte, right, like this, we'd use the 20-ounce pitcher, fill it to right about there. And we would have minimal wastage. It wouldn't be perfect, right? Like, and you kind of want to have a little bit of leeway, but it would be very, very good results as far as, waste in terms of milk waste, right? So, but again, this all goes back to the whole thing about the central thing we return to about the difference between working professionally and as a home enthusiast is that you just have more repetition in the professional ranks rather than the home ranks, only because there's just so much more opportunity to make it. So you can do this more. You can just pour and get a better feel for it because you're doing it so many times, right? Now, let's go back and look here. Last shot, not bad. Okay, that looks pretty good. Yeah, a little bit of residual. Let's rinse that out. And wipe it out. Make it nice and clean and dry, right? Nice and clean and dry. Good, good. Now we're going to grind our coffee. So here's something that's interesting. So remember how we were having issues of, so remember how the last few days that we've been doing this, the way that the coffee fell out of the grinder, right? It was very clumpy in some respects, but it fell out differently. Now I'm noticing right now, and I think that I'm going to attribute this to static. The way that it's coming out of the dosing chamber, it's kind of coming out like a spread. So where it used to come out, like yesterday, it was coming out like this, right? It would just fall out of it. Right now, it's coming out like this. It's spreading out. As you can see, the way that it's spreading across here is very different. And you can, the way it's spread, and I don't know if you can see this here. Oh, it's a little bit dark. And you can see here that it's a little bit more spiky. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a little bit more spiky, especially when you're looking at the profile. And I think that's because of static. So I grabbed the zero stat, and I'm going to give it a little bit of an Anton. So we're going to call that the Anton now. And maybe we'll even gun the so maybe that will help. Okay, so I'm just going to move it around. Now I've got too much here, right? So this is probably way too much, right? You can see as I'm pushing around, instead of mounding like it had been, it's just kind of but now that I'm maneuvering it, you can see that there's quite a lot. And I think that's too much. We're probably like 24, 25 grams. So I want to knock off a little bit, about that much. Make sure that's nice and centered. Now, you notice I'm not really worried too much about putting all of it in the center. I'm just kind of going with it. Again, just make sure that you have the it's nice and even all the way around before you temp. Okay, nice and clean, ready to go. One thing before we start, though, we want to make sure that we get our milk ready. And we can take this and we can set this down for a few moments while we do this. I'm going to get the Mayola. I'm going to put the milk in here. We're going to make cappuccino, right? So I'm going to fill it to right about here. I'm filling it right about there. Right? You can see here, right about there. And Paige says, I like the mirror out there. Thank you. Remember, the difference between the professional and the amateur is that the amateur points out the mistakes. The professional pretends that we're like, oh, totally intended, totally what we wanted, totally. That's what the woodworking guys told me. They were like, yeah, the amateur, don't point out. Here's it, like, don't point out what's wrong. Just don't say anything. So, gotcha. Devin says, use a dab of dish soap in a milk jug full of cold water, steam and texture. Yeah, that's totally great. That's a totally great tip, because if you take your picture, if you want to practice like your texturing, the rolling, like Devin says, just put a little some water, cold water, and then a dab of just a little dot of dish soap, and it will steam very much like the milk. The difference will be that it will scream, like it will be wildly like unpleasant orally, not orally, right? Orally. Okay. Paige says, I'm thinking about taking a milk steaming pouring class at the shop. Yeah, you should totally do it. It's always good to have someone give you hands-on instruction, right? You can watch all the videos you want, but I can tell you that you want to position your steam wand at this particular angle in this particular lower left quadrant or whatever, and you want to kind of manipulate it this way. But until you're actually doing it, like, it's difficult to really truly grasp that. And if somebody that's there that's really knowledgeable, that can help you, work on your technique in person, like, maybe it's just a matter of like the angle that you're holding it. And then you also, when I can tell you that you want to drop it, at a certain rate, but until you get someone there that can actually show you, it can be difficult to understand. So I think totally you should definitely take a class if it's available to you. And Paige says, I tried the. Oh, so you tried the latte art? That's all right. It just takes time. Yeah, even Devin, to keep trying the smallest amount of soap. Yeah, the smallest amount of soap is all you need. Absolutely. It just is loud. That's the only thing that I don't. I mean, we train our baristas like with that same technique, but it is loud. It is loud. Like, for example, how loud is it? It's kind of like this. Let me get the water here. Right, and actually, what I'll do is I'll show you. We can even get a little bit of our palm olive. Just one drop, right? Just one drop is floating in there. And now we're going to go for it. Oh. So as you can see, it's rolling. Now, I just got to control it. This is a great way to do it because you're not spending all this money on milk. You're waiting a little bit more. Now you can feel it getting warmer. Oh, this one's not screaming. Huh. It will. I think it will. I don't know if it will. On my La Marzocco, it screams. Huh. This is not bad. Okay, now it's way hot. Now it's way hotter than it should be. Like, now I'm scalding the milk. I'm totally scalding it. Totally like boiling now. It's totally boiling. It's too much. We should stop. So, okay, that was bad technique. That was really poor. That's poor execution. If you're watching for the first time, you're probably sitting there thinking, this guy has a YouTube channel? What is he doing? What kind of charlatan is it? And I look at this milk, I have to be like, yeah, what kind of charlatan am I here? Look at that. That is not nice. That's not nice. That's like, That's good for Starbucks. All right, you know what it is? It's the Palmolive. It's totally defective. There's something wrong with it. I don't know what's wrong. Maybe it's the lot number is off. I think that's what it is. I think that's totally what it is. But now we gotta make sure when you do this, go back to your machine and make sure that you have your wet towel and you flush out the wand well and wipe it down well, because you've got, don't know if you want to have soapy tasting lattes. Okay, now that Devin has exposed me for the charlatan that I am with this steaming technique, let's go and try to make a cappuccino. All right, now over here. So again, we're going to go back, flush the group here because it's been sitting around for a little bit longer, just to make sure that the heat exchange tubing has not overheated the water as much. And then we're going to make sure that we purge the wand, just to make sure it's nice and clean, that there's no condensation in the steam wand. Go back in, lock it in, start the brew, get our cup, put that under. Let's see if we can steam this. Okay, I think that's good. I think that'll work. Now, of course, like I said, make sure you wipe the steam wand right away, so you don't have it. So it just prevents that buildup. Make sure it's flushed out, and let's go look here. All right, here is our shot. Oh, that looks fairly nice. A little bit of striations there from maybe slightly running a little bit longer. The milk looks all right. All right, let's go. So around the outside, and then dive to a little bit messed up there. Totally messed up. Too much. Well, there it is. Lovely. Oh, this is a feather, right? So as you can see, the feather like a quill, and so actually we can make a little bit of a quill. So it's really about writing, right? So we're going to write. There it is. A little bit of feather. You know what it is? It's really because this countertop is 42 inches, right? This is a 42-inch bar. And so I have to pour at a higher, where I'm used to pouring like this, where I get better control. That's really it. That's really, it's not me. It's the situation, right? Anton says, a tip for the Zerostat, you're supposed to press and release a little bit slower. I like to press and release a little slowly while moving it around. Oh, okay. So, okay, I'll remember that. All right, now let's have a look here. Like yesterday, we talked about the cappuccino, the idea of we shake it here a little bit, right? So, like as a barista, I will shake it a little bit just to see. That looks like it could be right around. Actually, that looks a little bit light. Now that I'm seeing the shake, it looks a little bit light on the depth. So let's have a look here. We're going to take our back of our fork here, put it in and pull. So you can see there's a little bit of reveal, right? So, and it's really thin. So this is too light. Not enough stretching, right? Yeah, definitely not enough stretching. And as you can see, it's kind of like sunken. We don't want it to be sunken. Ideally, you want it to have like more. And so you see, also I'm out of milk. See, just the right amount of milk. There you are, Anton. Oh, look at that. That's ugly. That just made it worse. That made it worse. All right, let's have a taste and see how. Not bad. The milk is sweet. Sweet, it has been sweetened. But because we have this imbalance of the foam, like there's not enough foam, right? Remember, cappuccino rule of thirds. Third espresso, third milk, third foam. We have a very tiny layer of foam, so that means we have a preponderance of milk. So the balance is not as nice as it could be. Like the sweetness is good, but it's kind of like the coffee should be stronger to the milk. Like it should be like more equilibrium, and it's not. It's disappointing. It's disappointing. It's disappointing. I'm disappointed. Maybe I'm just going to quit YouTube now. Okay, so rinsing again. Gotta make sure we rinse out all of our pictures. Now, I thought that we would have a little bit of a treat with it. So I had a meeting this past weekend, Sunday, yes, 2 days ago. And I belong to a Filipino association here and now, and we do like cultural programs and education programs, things like that. And I've been on their board for a few years. And so we had our yearly planning meeting this weekend, and they had it catered. And some people brought some potluck items. I didn't know we it wasn't mandatory, and I didn't know. So I was like, okay. But I grabbed a couple pieces of some traditional Filipino dessert that I thought I'd share with you to go with our cappuccino. So let's have a look here. This is what we call cassava, or cassava cake. And it's made with the cassava. And cassava, if you're not familiar, is kind of like a yuca. Right? It's a tuber, a root. And you mush it, and then you mix it with sugar, coconut milk, and then you bake it. Pretty much in Filipino desserts, there's a lot of sugar and coconut milk mixed with something else. Cassava, ube, rice, ground rice. It's all kind of the same, right? And on the top here, you see this layer of this kind of creaminess. This is typically a little bit of flour, and evaporated milk or condensed milk to give it a little bit of, custardy feel. Now these two look different, right? They look different because they are different. They are the same, essentially the same product. But this one here on the right is made by the caterer, a place called Mama Rosa's Grill here in Baltimore. The one on the left is made by my friend Elise, and she made this. And it's funny because Elise is kind of like this. She's the wife of one of my really good friends. His name is Jay also. And, Elise is kind of this very kind of quiet, kind of traditional girl. Like she's very kind of, but she grew up here. We're all from here. So we're not like traditional Filipinos. Like we're kind of imitation still. But she's like, she does the cooking and the cleaning. She cooks Filipino food. I'm like, wow, I don't really know many Filipino girls cooking Filipino food at home. Terrible. But then we were talking one day, and I've known this woman for 25 years, some crazy amount of time, like most of our lives, right? And I remember a few years back, we were talking about music, and she's like, yeah, I like this music, which is kind of like the alternative music in the 80s. And she was like, yeah, I used to DJ when I was at school. I was like, what, you were a music, and she listened to great music and DJ, and I was like, who are you? What kind of how is this that I've known you all these years? I didn't know anything about you. Anyway, so she loves to cook, and she does a really good job at making Filipino food. So I thought we'd share this and have a look at. So it looks kind of like cheesecake, says Paige. It looks like it is, but it's really not. It's much more dense. So let's try this first one here from as you can see, there's a lot of resistance. Like cheesecake is very, very easy to get into. This is very much a resistant. Like you can see there's a bit of density to it, a bit of texture, right? Maku says it looks a bit like a cassava yuca flat, and that's exactly, essentially what it is, except using, I guess, the ingredients that are, indigenous to the Philippines. Remember, the Philippines was a colony of Spain for 400 years. We were ruled by Spain, conquered by Spain, ruled by Spain, and then we fought, got our independence. Well, not we, they did. I didn't do anything. I wasn't even around, but got their independence. Then the United States came in, crushed them, took over the country, ruled for 50 years, and then now the Philippines is on its own. But there's a lot of influence between the two. And during Spanish rule, the Philippines was actually administered by the governor of Mexico, right? So there's a lot of similarities in culture between the Philippines and Mexico, which I think is just an interesting thought. And so let's take. So this one from the Mama Rosa's, Very thick, chewy. See? That's very nice. Cappuccino and the cassava, very, very nice, even though this is very ugly. And even though the balance is off, the relatively light sweetness of the cassava does really pair very beautifully with that. So now let's try Mama Elise's cassava. You can see the custard on top is a little bit different, right? And you can even see here that the wisp of like the cassava root. Oh, there's fibrous. They're fibrous, right? I'll put that aside. I don't need that much fiber in my life. Okay, so this one's a little bit less, thick and coarse. This looks a little more fine. Let's see how it tastes. Definitely a thicker layer of that custard on top, and very much a smoother texture, less dense, less resistive. But I think as far as to go with the coffee, in terms of the mix of the flavor, the coconut, the sugar, the cream. Let me turn that back. I was going to say originally that the Mama Rosa's, I think that went better with the coffee, but I don't know now. The Mama Elise's is a lighter in both texture as well as flavor. It's a little more delicate in flavor, which is really pretty. What the Mama Rosa's has that's a little bit more of an advantage, at least this could also just be because I got the center cut from Mama Elise's, and Mama Rosa, I got the edge cut. You got a little bit of this caramelization right here from the pan, which is quite, I like that kind of thing. It's kind of got that it kind of looks like the, what is that called? The Cannelé de Bordeaux, that kind of like caramelization. It is quite a bit different, but I totally understand. Like it, and that's the thing. Like one of the things that like as someone that prepares like foods or coffees for other people, and a lot of times at Spro, we would have people come in for the very first time, right? That may, for some reason, they're curious to try something different in coffee. One of the things that you have to kind of remember is that everybody brings their own experience to it, right? They have their own experiences that may not necessarily be to match to your own. So you have to, so while I might be in a world where like lychee fruit is very common to me and like, oh yeah, of course, like lychee tastes like lychee, of course it's the best fruit in the world. I will have guests that will come in that will be like, oh, they've never had lychee. They have no concept what lychee is. So so I have to remember that because, we're trying to expose people to something different, hopefully something that they'll enjoy. So I always find out that we have to be cognizant of that fact that people will come to you and try things and experience things without necessarily your experience as well. So you have to kind of like, be open to that. And I think that's the beauty of what we do is like, we can try new things and yeah. All right. Thanks very much. Have a good one. See you next time. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to have him do the time to do the drawing for the giveaway. Let me plug in the computer so that I can show you what's going on here so that you can see that we are totally transparent in what we're doing. Hopefully, if it plugs into the okay, good. Okay, let me just make sure that we've got Where's my cursor? All right, now it's just slow. So here it is. Okay, that's my back end. You don't want to see that. I don't want you to see that. Now we have we have 33 entries into this drawing. And how do I do picture in picture? Let me do picture in picture. There I am. Hello. We have 33 entries this month for the drawing. Paige says, you can't even find lychee at any grocery store within 40 to 50 miles of where I live. Yeah, that's why. That's why we always want to be open to, letting people try new things. And also the important thing is also be cognizant of the fact that people may not have tried certain things. So as we talk about them, or as we may, introduce that to people, that we have to find a way to correlate the experience based on what they know so that they can understand better. And I think that's really the interesting part of it all. Peter says, cassava is a cross between pumpkin and potato in texture, nothing milky. Okay, yeah. Peter, what drawing? Where have you been for the last 2 weeks? We have a drawing going on. We have the La Marzocco Home Artpresso gift set that goes on your Mazzer Mini. This is what we've been touting for the last 2 weeks. So time for us to do the drawing. So what I've done is I've taken all the entries, I put them into a spreadsheet that I was trying to not show the actual addresses, but which it does show the addresses. So I can't. But there are 33. There are 33, right? You can see that right there. 33 entries, and I put them all into this wheel generator that we're going to. Peter was in Southeast. Yeah, I know. You're always traveling. But yes, we have a drawing, but we'll have more drawings. We're going to do drawings every month, and so this drawing, I figured we were going to do And the thing is that when the drawings we're going to send to you anywhere in the world. If you're like I said, Peter, if you're in Antarctica, we'll send it to you there. Wherever you happen to go or happen you have to be, we're going to send it to you regardless of whatever. Okay, so I guess it's time to draw. So let's go for it. We're going to spin 1 to 33. And so here's the thing. So I guess I should read. I guess I should go and read the details. Okay, so here, let's go back here. So the eligibility, the giveaway was open to one on planet Earth, package purchase from 18 of age. Giveaway begins January 14th to January 28th. And this is how you enter. You had to sign up for the coffee tips and subscribe, because this is a crass grab for more subscribers. That's really it, And to be, we enjoy stuff. Randomly selected from the eligible entries and select during the Coffee Q&A live stream on January 28th, which is today. And the live stream will begin broadcasting 10 a.m. Eastern, blah, 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 blah. The winner will be announced during the live stream. We will also attempt to contact the winner via social links on social media. The winner has 5 days to respond and claim the prize, or a new winner will be chosen. So if we don't get any responses, if I can't reach the person, they don't contact me directly, 5 days is Monday? We're going to go back on Monday and do it again until we get it moved, because the last thing I need is more stuff here. The prize is one La Marzocco Mini Grinder Mini Lux Set D, Walnut made by Artpresso Design. We're not liable. No cash, substitution. We'll ship it to you anywhere in the world within 2 weeks. The winners, but you are responsible for the taxes, duties, customs. Constitute permission, blah, 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 scum. If you want to see it all, it's all in the description down below. So help yourself to look at that. Now let's go here and do our drawing. Peter says, funny, I was going to apply for, that would be kind of epic, man. I think I've always had this idea of going, I would love to see it. Just be I'm here and go to McMurdo Station or one of those stations where they have the door. You see those videos online where the doors are they're open, the doors are it's oh my gosh, that'd be crazy. But it's the whole maybe 6 months at a time. That's I'd like to go for a week The 6 months, I don't know if I want to do it that long. But I guess if I had internet and I had my video cameras and I had like my laptops, I could make videos about coffee from down. That's truly down under, right? I don't have a Mazzer, so I didn't enter. Okay, very good, very good. We will have other stuff that won't be Mazzer specific in the future. Next month will be non-specific to anything. A little bit more fun for Valentine's Day. All right, so let's do this. Let's do this. We got this here. We're gonna spin. We're gonna spin. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. 29. All right. Number 29 is our winner. Number 29 is our winner. Let me go and see who that is here. Okay, so here we are. We have number 29. These are all of our entries. As you can see, some of you will see yourselves' names here. 29, Craig Harris, 2014. There it is. Craig Harris is our winner. Winner, chicken dinner. So Craig, if you're there, we're going to try to reach out to you, whatever email you provided to us as well. But if you're watching, Craig, then let me know. Or if you see this at some point, the Artpresso Lux kit is yours, and I just need to know where to send it to, and I'll send it out to you fairly quickly. Peter says, Paige says, I have a friend that just visited Antarctica for over a week by Princess Cruises out of Argentina. Ooh, I hear that it's very, very like rough to do that transit between like South America and actual Antarctica. Like evidently the way the oceans down there spin, it's like super like rough. All right. So Craig Harris, congratulations to you. Yeah, I guess we've had fairly dismal failure with our milk this week. So, all right, I guess that's gonna be it for today. That's gonna be it for today. Back again tomorrow with more of the coffee Q&A. So look forward to seeing you then. Hope you have a wonderful day out there. And we're gonna have another giveaway next month. Something a little bit more fun, a little bit fun in a different way, but a little bit lighter, a little bit less, a little friendly. All right, so guys, have a great day. Kent, Mom, Paige, Peter, Anton, the Devons, good to see all of you, and see you next time.